Beautiful.
Whoa.
Whoa!
That's the second time today.
Oh!
What are we gonna do? Beautiful largemouth bass.
Wow.
About 2.5 pounds, give or take.
Hello everyone, so we are here with Anthony. Anthony
going?
here. So Anthony has taken me out here. We are going here for bass fishing basically, and so Anthony is going to give us a little more idea about how bass fishing is, and also like the different rods and reel setup for basic bass fishing for beginners at least. So Anthony.
Well, pleasure to be out here today. Today we're on Lake Nockamixon here in Quakertown, PA. The bass fishing is pretty hot right now. It's a little bit iffy. The weather has been very wild lately. So the water temperatures today are about 52 degrees. That means that the fish are in pre-spawn. They're getting ready to move up shallow. They're getting ready to spawn and reproduce. And before they do that, they're feeding very heavily. They're stocking up, kind of like a bear eats up before the winter, because the fish aren't gonna be feeding during the spawn. So they're gorging themselves on shad and bait fish and herring right now. And they're moving from the deeper water from the winter time up shallow, up to the shorelines where they're gonna be spawning later this year. So in about another month or so in May, early June, we'll be catching them up really shallow. But today, they're gonna be probably at a little bit deeper, off of the bank a little bit. So we're gonna be trying to see what we can do out here. But I'll walk you through some of the baits and the rods we're gonna be using. So first off, the fish are feeding very heavily on shad. So we wanna imitate shad. So you'll see I have rigged up here a couple of these baits that very well imitate shad. One of them is a suspending jerk bait. This has been a very special bait this year. This bait dives about 5 to 7 foot of water, but we're fishing in 15 to 20 foot of water. And this bait, we're gonna use our rods and jerk it around and slash it and rip it through the water. And then when we stop moving it, it sits there motionless. And the fish that are sitting here in 15 to 20 foot of water that are sitting there and staging as they're moving up to spawn, they like to come up, swim up and grab it and go back down. So this has been one of the biggest producers this year. We also have crankbaits and things like that. This has been another great bait and presentation. When the water's a little murkier, today we have clear water, so we're probably gonna be throwing the jerk baits more, but this is a crankbait. This is a deep diving crankbait. Helps us get down to the water depths that we want to get to. So we'll be throwing crankbaits and jerk baits, and then the fish, some of them are starting to move up shallow. The males are the ones that move up shallow first. The males are the smaller, the more aggressive fish, and they like to move up and stake out territory and get ready for the females that are still out deep to start moving shallow. So we're gonna be using jigs and rubber worms as well. I'm gonna come back here and show you the baits that we're gonna be using back here. So on Lenson's rod, we got rigged up little Menace Baits prototype finesse jig, and you can see this is a 3/16 ounce jig, very small little bait. Oop. And we rigged up a little crawl trunk trailer on the back there, and all this is going to do is sink down to the bottom. We're going to cast these up shallow to the edges of trees, to the edges of logs, the edges of grass, and hop it around, drag it on the bottom, and try to imitate a crayfish or a little bait fish or a bluegill or something. And so we finally started catching them on the jigs just a little bit ago. And one more presentation that also we started catching them on recently, it's just a little rubber worm. Again, these little males are starting to go up shallow. So I have a 4-inch rubber worm here. I have this Texas rig with a 2-aught hook, little 1/4 ounce sinker, and this is a 4-inch TI worm by Filthy Fisherman Bait Company. So we're casting these shallow, kind of working these out deep and trying to intercept some of these fish that are up pre-spawn, some of the males that are moving up shallow already. Some of the females are starting to push up a little shallower. We're catching about 7 foot of water is the shallowest we caught a female this year. So that's kind of what we're doing today. We're gonna go figure it out. Lake Nockamixon is a tough lake. We have 8 hours out here. We're gonna go see if we can't figure them out, get a couple bites, and get on them. So stay tuned, looking forward to fishing.
Yeah, one other question I just want to
Sure.
ask Anthony is, you have a lot of rods.
Yes, I do.
So this is like a very common question. A lot of people ask for bass fishing why you need a lot of rods.
Yes.
But Anthony will give you an idea why he actually requires all those rods.
Yes, I will, and I'm going to show you an example here. So, as a tournament bass angler, I own about 40 rod and reel combos here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 of them out today. So, the reason, first of all, efficiency. I make a living out in the water doing fishing charters and fishing tournaments. I can't spend all my time sitting here tying up a new bait or a new color or a new size of bait every time I want to switch something up. So I had to have a rod ready to go because I have a limited amount of time to catch as many and as big fish as possible. So that helps me be more efficient on the water. But more importantly than that, every single one of these combos is technique specific. Every rod, reel, action, line is designed for the technique and the bait that I'm throwing it on. So I'm gonna give you an example. I have 2 very different rod and reel combos here. They look the same, they're actually the same brands, the same rods, same line, but they're very different. I'm gonna show you how and show you why. This is my jerkbait fishing rod. You can see here, this is a 7-foot, 0-inch medium action rod, but you see that it's got a moderate taper to it. And what a moderate taper means, see how bendy this rod is? It's kind of like a noodle. It's very soft. It's bending all the way down the rod. And what this helps me do is this bait that has treble hooks, I don't want to rip this bait out of the fish's mouth. I want to give him a chance to get it. And having that soft taper rod really gives him a good chance to get it. Not to mention with a jerk bait, I like a small handle on my rod here. So having this small handle really helps me work the bait very effectively. I'm throwing this on 10-pound fluorocarbon fishing line, and my gear ratio, I don't want to fish this bait too fast. So I have this on a 5-to-1 gear ratio reel because the fish, I found they like to hit it on the pause a lot of time, and I fish this bait too fast. So I'll jerk, 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 and I'll let it pause. And that slow gear ratio reel prevents me from picking up too much fishing line too quickly. Now I have the same rod and reel combo, just a very different specs for another one of my rods and reels. And this one I have rigged up a rubber worm. This is a Senko. This is on a 3/0 offset hook here. And I'm fishing this bait on the same rod and reel brand and model, but with very different specs. So you'll see this one here has a 7-foot 3-inch fast taper. This is a medium and heavy action rod, but it has a fast taper. And what that means, you're gonna see on my rod here, when I'm jerking it, you see how only the tip is what's moving? It's not bending down the rod as much. That means it's a faster taper. The tip is what's most bendy, and the rod is relatively stiffer. This is a graphite rod. And this is helpful because when I'm fishing a bait where I'm sitting there doing nothing with it, I need sensitivity. I need to feel what that bait's doing down there. Not to mention, I have to drive the hook into the fish's mouth. I'm not reeling this bait along. I'm casting it out there, letting it sit there, and then when a fish bites, I gotta really use my rod and drive the hook into his mouth, called setting the hook. And having a fast taper rod with a very sensitive tip, that helps me get the job done. Now on this reel, I want it to go faster. So I have a 7-1-to-1 gear ratio reel. That picks up more line quicker. So for every turn of the handle, I'm picking up more line because I don't want to waste time, letting this bait sit there and then I have to pick up my line fast because the fish will swim up with it. So I want to pick up line fast. And I'm throwing this on 12-pound fluorocarbon line. That's 2 examples of 40 rod and reel combos that I have rigged and ready to go for any technique and anything you can imagine. You don't need 40 rod and reel combos to be a great angler though. Get yourself a couple combos, get some for different techniques, get some for heavy, for light, for finesse, for treble hook baits. Get started, work your way up, and you're gonna be set to go. But it's not the gear that makes the fisherman, it's the fisherman who comes out here, learns, figures out the patterns, and catches fish ultimately that's gonna be most successful.
Hey Anthony, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
One other thing I just want to mention is Anthony also is a brand owner of Menace baits.
You got it.
Also, he's, like he said before, he's a tournament angler with MLF, Major League Fishing, which is like a very big event in the United States. A lot of the audience who are watching this might not know that, but it's a very big event and he's a tournament angler. So thank you so much, man.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to fish with you. Looking forward to getting on them today.
Okay guys, check out this view. It's just beautiful. Anthony,
Unbeatable out here, isn't it?
beautiful. What a day. Wonderful day.
Perfect weather.
Amazing weather. Okay, looks like Anthony just hit his first one.
All right, we got our first bass of the day.
Whoa, that's a beautiful
nice
one.
Little bass here.
Oh my.
And she hit right off the end.
Oh,
no!
my.
No!
Oh.
We got it on camera though, right?
Well, yes, we got it on camera. But it was a beautiful one. No joke. It was really good.
And
Beautiful.
You know what she hit on? She hit on the old rubber worm.
Wow.
You see, she chewed that up a little bit.
Beautiful.
She hit right off of the end of this tree in some
Wow.
deeper water. So that's actually a male. That's a fish that's moving up early to get ready to stake out some territory for the spawn.
Wow, that was a beautiful fish.
It
no
was.
doubt.
It is. So we're gonna get back out there, and we're gonna get him again. We're gonna get a bigger one now.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Okay, guys, check out this cast by Anthony.
All right. So bass are ambush predators. So that means they're gonna sit in heavy cover, heavy structure, waiting for bait to come by so that they can ambush it. So we'll often find bass hiding in thick trees and rocks and grass. So look at this tree up here. I don't want to be casting around these trees. I want to be casting into them and under the trees. And the best way to do that is to do a technique we call pitching. So I'm going to take my 1/4 ounce menace jig and I'm going to try to pitch it under these trees where the fish are waiting and hiding to ambush some prey. So just like that, I can throw it under the tree by getting a nice little underhand cast and let it sink straight down in there. And because this bait is really weedless and snag proof, I can fish it effectively in there. And I can bring it out and try again. There we go. We just work it, and all we're doing is we're kind of going down the shoreline, throwing our jigs under these trees here. Or over them.
Whoa, that's a beautiful cast.
Yeah, we can make it.
It's so...
Yeah, we make it have virtually no splash because we stop it so slowly on the water.
Oh my God. The accuracy of that cast is insane.
Yep. It takes a lot of practice, as you can imagine. So let's try it over here now. I'm gonna try to get behind this tree. We can also skip it under back there. Now we're fishing under the tree. So you can skip it over here. Under the tree. Get it under there like that. And that's usually where we're going to find these big bass waiting to ambush the prey. Oh, we got a
Whoa.
bite there. Oh, wouldn't that be
Beautiful.
cool, catching a fish on camera? Let's try that again. Oh. Tree element up there. Yeah, that's the trick. You want to get your baits where no other anglers are putting their baits in, because that's going to be areas that fish haven't seen baits before.
Whoa! Anthony just
Alrighty.
got one beautiful
Got a
bass
big
here.
bass.
Oh, nice.
All right, come here, girl.
Wow, that's a beautiful.
Whoa.
Whoa!
That's the second time today.
Oh!
What are we gonna do?
Whoa, but that was
saw it
a
on
beauty.
camera, though.
That was a beauty. Wow, that was a
You
giant.
saw it on camera.
That was beautiful.
Ay, ay, ay. Good fish, good fish.
Beautiful.
Oh, man.
Okay, so I'm using a Senko here. So Senko, a weight, and let's do a cast. So Anthony just got another
Here
bass.
we go. We finally put one in the boat.
Beautiful bass.
He ate that 1/4 ounce menace
Wow.
jig right there, hooked him in the top of the mouth.
Wow.
And I'll show you what I did was I flipped the jig right to the end of the tree out here. And I just yo-yoed it a couple times. And when it fell, I felt that tick, tick, and I just lifted up and he was there. And we got him in there that time.
Wow.
Not bad.
Beautiful.
Beautiful largemouth bass.
Wow.
About 2.5 pounds, give or take. We'll take it.
Wow.
Yeah,
It is beautiful.
I like it. You can see
Oh,
this.
this part is really tough.
Absolutely.
And this part is soft, but this is really tough. It's so hard to hold it.
Yep,
So we
that's for
need
sure.
this.
Yep. All right, we'll get her back in there.
Leave it. Okay. Did you have it?
Yeah, we do. There we go. She's gone. All right.
So overall today was a wonderful day being out here with Anthony. Just want to thank you, Anthony, once again. Thank you so much, man. He taught me so much about bass fishing and learned a lot of new things. It was definitely a fun experience being out here with him. Once again, back to Anthony.
Yeah, so a little recap for the day. We started out fishing the middle of the lake for the most part, since these fish are pre-spawn, and we found some exciting news. The fish are starting to move up a little bit as they're getting ready to spawn here. But we started the day early. We caught a little fish, a little bass, about 1.5 pounds or so on a rubber worm. As you saw, he fell off right next to the boat. We were stalling him, trying to get him on camera, and he fell off, but that's okay. We got to see him. It was a nice fish. We struggled for a little while trying to figure out how to catch a fish, and we weren't getting a bite for a while. Ended up then getting a big bite on the jig. We flipped it into a tree, and that's when we had a 4-pound largemouth bass eat the jig. We set the hook, and same thing, we were stalling, waiting for Lenson to grab the camera and get a good shot of it, but unfortunately he took that extra minute and he popped off right next to the boat as I just almost grabbed him. But that's okay, we also got him on film. got to see the fish, got to experience the fight, and got to learn something new, get a clue. But we did end the day. We finally put a nice 3-pound largemouth in the boat on the jig, flipped it to the edges of the trees because they're starting to move up a little bit. Got him in the boat, got some good pictures, so hopefully you get to see that as well. But all in all, a great day. A little bit chilly, a little overcast, and all in all, a good day at Lake Nakamixon, and excited to get back out there.
Hey, thank you, Anthony, once again. And for all the guys who are watching, I will put the link to his bait store, Menace Baits, and also he runs fishing charter boat services. So I'll put the links right below so that, you know, if you can get in touch with him. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you. See you out in the water.
Take care.